there were so many actually like quirky good stories this week, and I wanted to wrap them all up in a new segment that I'm calling Sticking It to the Man. So these are some stories that maybe slipped under the radar because we're all focused on how everything's awful, but there were a few fun little moments that I want to highlight and get your thoughts on, John. We don't have a game. We don't have to vote which one's the best. We'll just like, it's a purview. It's a sort of a smorgasbord, a sampling of the good stuff. So this was fun. In Texas, where now having abortion, getting an abortion is illegal or in courts or under discussion. A pregnant woman was given an HOV ticket, arguing that her fetus is a passenger. So HOV is like heavy on, like, what is it? It's a carpool lane, basically, right?
Yeah, I don't know what the acronym means, but it means, that there's more than one person. Yeah.
I'm going to say heavy overdrive vehicle. It's like heavy occupancy vehicle. I got there because I'm smart.
Mm-hmm. It's number of people or body weight. Yeah.
So she said, this is Brandy Batone, was recently driving down Central Expressway in Dallas when she was stopped by a sheriff's deputy at an HOV checkpoint to see whether there were at least 2 occupants per vehicle as mandated. When the sheriff looked around her car last month, she recounted to the Washington Post that he asked, "Is it just you or is there someone riding with you?" And I said, "Oh, there's 2 of us." And he said, "Where?" And she was 34 weeks pregnant and pointed to her stomach. Even though she said her, quote, "baby girl is in there," Batone said one of the 2 deputies she encountered told her it had to be 2 bodies outside of the body.
That's kind of deep, actually.
2 bodies outside the body. She still got this ticket for $215, but she says she will be fighting it. She's going to be, and as a pregnant woman right now, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, what about your kid? Like, you gave birth to them, like, you created their cells, like, even once they're outside, they're still kind of you. No, I love this. It's like a live action Traffic version of what I do on my show. It's like pointing out the ridiculous hypocrisy and losing inevitably. Yes. We never win with this because they don't care about the hypocrisy, but it feels kind of good as the boat slips beneath the waves.
Totally. Yeah. It's not gonna work, but if we all do it, I mean, maybe there's a case to be made. But again, this is sort of like, it's the same sort of like, well, why aren't we doing this to men? We should regulate men's bodies. And like, obviously that's not the answer, and we're doing this rhetorically because no one should be regulating anybody else's body. But it is fun, especially when it comes to driving in the carpool lane, to claim that there, yes, are 2 people. So that was one little sticking into the man story. Another one, this one, I mean, come on, wow. Feces mailed to 25 Republican lawmakers in Ohio. Yes, okay, that takes work. Why they were sent to them remains unclear. No policy issues or certain grievances were included in the letters, said Senate GOP spokesperson John Fortney. The return addresses on the letters were deemed fake. Of course, there's a lot of, they were intercepted. They didn't reach these lawmakers, but
damn.
I think
a wasted turd is a sad turd. We should guess what? Why they were sent?
I'm just going to say, I think it was a woman. I want to claim this for our team. And I also want to just commend anyone who manages to shimmy a poo inside of an envelope. Like, how do you do that? Do you like open up the bubbled, like envelope, padded envelope, like over the toilet, or do you fish out and then put in? That might be another, like. Yes,
I think you set up all of your stationery and your envelopes and all of that on the table, and then you squat over it for convenience. This doesn't need to involve the bathroom at all. This is a serious endeavor.
Well, and the question is like, is it over time? Because so that's a lot of 25. Is that
Yeah,
25
also,
days of poo, or did you divide it up? Did you have to use
yeah.
like a Play-Doh cutter to like divide up?
And did you briefly pause and like, how much really is needed to get across the idea? Because I don't want it to be a pathetic amount. I don't want them to think
Of
that
course
like
not.
I'm not having enough fiber. So it has to be at least half of a log, I think.
Yeah, you got to be mad as hell. I mean, and Ohio again is one of those states where that is banning abortions. I mean, this is
That's probably what this is about, I imagine. The
absolutely. I
10-year-old,
mean,
the 10-year-old.
this is exactly. This is where the 10-year-old had to flee in order to go to Indiana for the closing Star Wars, door on the ship of reproductive rights as we slide in. Whatever, John. Don't
Mm-hmm.
fucking.
Mm-hmm.
And
No,
then of
we're
course,
in the garbage compactor and the walls are
yes,
closing in, and all we have is poop, so that shall be our sword.
yes, absolutely. And
Yes.
then finally, my personal favorite. So, in Sri Lanka this week, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa whose family's dominated politics in Sri Lanka for 2 decades, has decided to resign after months of protests accusing him of running the island's nation economy into the ground through corruption and mismanagement. And there were a lot of scenes out of Sri Lanka, people storming the presidential palace and specifically jumping into the presidential pool.
That's a nice pool. The little flip.
So great.
Flip for democracy.
Like hashtag no coup, no January 6th, but like that is some shit I super get down with. And I love how like you feel like we're about to like rack focus and push in on like one of the dudes and he's about to start rapping in Sri Lankan and like the music video breaks out. Like it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that going around. I just thought that like the servers for the Swimply app had been overbooked or something. It's like you show up and there's already a family there. No, that's good. Look, I think yes, no violence, nothing like that, but we do need to be willing to be a little bit confrontational. I do think though, like everyone's super impressed with that, but they haven't yet reached the levels of the US where people are like they're waiting outside of a Morton's, and that is some deep confrontational stuff. Horrifying, really.
My God. Outside of it, right? They didn't even get in.
Outside of it. They didn't even see the person they were protesting, and that is a line that I don't think we should even get close to.
It's terrible. No, Brett Kavanaugh absolutely has a fucking pool. We should all go and jump inside of it. Like, this is the one thing that especially when it's summertime, especially when it's hot, I'm like, no, anyone can go to any pool. Pools,
it's a
like after the
resource.
I'm just saying, after the rev, man, pools are a public resource. We reappropriate them. It's already bad enough to walk by. You guys do this where you like walk by in your neighborhood and you see, or you go to another neighborhood that's really nice and you totally see like an empty, what is clearly a second home, or they're like off on like their summer vacation to the Cape or whatever, and they've got a giant pool there, and you're just like, ugh. You know where the first place obviously is?
What?
Have you been to the Hearst Castle?
I haven't.
Okay, so the Hearst Castle,
cool.
It's not that cool. You just tour it, and it's like overlooking the ocean, and it's hot as hell. And like the pools at the Hearst Castle are incredible, but you're not allowed to go in them.
That's not
And
right.
that's when the fucking rev happens. We're going to the Hearst Castle. We're jumping into William Randolph Hearst, like amazing fresh spring like pool. It's so nice.
No, that'll be the good thing about the rev is that those final BS laws we won't have to abide. Like you can swim in the Hearst Castle pools and you can pet the drug sniffing German shepherds. I'm a human. I'm a man. I will do what I want. I will pet that good boy.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do